Hi everybody, this is LuckGod. I've got a battle report for you today. The other day I ran a small tournament at my local club and there were odd numbers, so I ended up playing, and because I couldn't win any prizes because I was running it, I decided to bring the jankiest lists I could possibly come up with. I got a bit of help from the Signal Facebook group, but this is the first game. It's Siege's character couple combo into Kaelyssa in Retribution. So in the Retribution list he has Kaelyssa, and she's running a Hydra and a Banshee. She's got two of the Cantric Force generator things, the battle engines, a mechanic, a Fane Knight, Eris-1, two more mechanics, a Houseguard Thane, max unit of halberdiers with command attachment and a Solus escort, and Linus and Adria, and then a unit of electromancers. My list is Siege1. There's no theme for this one. The Retribution list is the Defenders theme, by the way. No theme for the Signal list. So it's Siege with a Squire and Triumph and a Hunter, and then Brun and Lug, Rausch and Brine, Tarin and Rutger, and Rutger's running a Talon, Blythe and Bull, Hearn and Joan, and Ironholt and Linus and Adria. The idea being to stick as many couples into the list as I can, so it's 9 in total, and it's a bit wacky, and we'll see how it does. So Retribution got turn 1, and a lot of the stuff just ran up. He put Banishing Ward up on Kaelyssa, so I can't target her with Force Hammer. He put Blur up on the unit of Halberdiers, which is a great unit for them, and he put Refuge on the battle engine on the left. So other than that, everything ran up to get into position to shoot me next turn. So Merknar turn 1, Triumph got given a point of focus, so he could move up. I think I might have had to trample, I'm not sure. Anyway, he boosts a shot into Eris-1, and he needed like a 13 to hit. He managed it, so he kills Eris-1 on turn 1, which is amazing for me. Siege moves up and shoots at the Thane on the horse, and manages to do some damage. The Hunter then does enough damage to take out the horse, so he's now dismounted. Brun puts up his upkeep spell and moves up. The bear moves up a bit as well. Rutger and his Talon are on the hill, sitting waiting to go into that zone. I have Hearn and John walk up and they shoot some AoEs at the Halberdiers, and surprisingly actually manage to kill 2. I think they killed 2, which was pretty impressive. Brine runs up into the zone. I really need to get him to be able to charge something near the force generator or trample to be able to try and kill it. I think he's the only thing I have on that side that can get to it. Everything else just moves up. I know Ironholt goes stealth. So Retribution turn 2. He upkeeps Refuge and Banishing Ward and Blur, and he starts off with the AFG, which aims the AFG on the right, I should say, which aims and shoots at the Talon. It uses the momentum shot to slam. It hits and slams into Rutger. Rutger can't get knocked down because he's got Iron Sentinel, but he dies from the collateral damage. It was dice damage, so it was quite likely. He fails his tough check. The Warjack itself is knocked down and takes fairly decent damage from the shot. His second shot, he puts the rough terrain one out and tries to fire it at Triumph. It misses but scatters and still clips Triumph. Doesn't do any damage but leaves him stuck in some rough terrain. The Halberdiers then charge, and they use their mini feat for +2 attack and damage if they're attacking something in melee with a friendly model in the unit, so basically like Gang. They do some really decent damage to the Talon. I think they leave it on 4 or 5 boxes, but no arms, and it's knocked down. A couple of them manage to charge Triumph, and they do some really decent damage, nearly half of his health, but it's all scattered about, so he hasn't lost any systems yet. The AFG on the left shoots at Brine and hits and knocks him down, and then it chooses to do the boosted damage shot and does a really good chunk of damage to him. And then his Warjack on the left, the Banshee, also shoots into Brine and kills him. I should also mention that the battle engine on the left refuged into the zone. So that's me down a heavy and my light and its controller basically, and Triumph is half dead. Got to admit, at this point I was feeling pretty miserable. So Signar turn 2. It's also worth mentioning that the Kaelyssa popped her feet this turn, so I cannot charge any of his models in her control area, and they all have stealth, which is fairly annoying. So I set to work trying to do the best I could to get back from this. Triumph makes his main interface shot, kills a halberdier. Then we have Anaya and Hulk go. They move up. Hulk gets in the back arc of one of the halberdiers engaging Triumph. Anaya gets, so she is engaging, so the halberdier is engaging her, so she doesn't have the -4 penalty to targeting them with harm for +2 damage rolls. I did this because she didn't really have the range to get to any of them, because the others, because of the stealth, so she manages to put harm on them, which will be pretty good, and Hulk manages to kill the one that was engaging Triumph on the left hand side. I then have Brun, which is the Bez Warlock, attack and kill the 2 that were either side of the Talon. He has to spend all of his fury to do it, but he does manage it. I then have Rorsch. Seeing as he doesn't have his War Beast anymore, he's now just become a little mini Super Solo. So I have him throw his dynamite into the halberdiers, and I think he manages to kill 1 or 2. I also have Hearn and John walk up, and John manages to get into the zone and chuck some AoEs into the halberdiers as well. I think they managed to kill a couple as well. Linus and Adria just run up into the zone behind the patch of water. So Triumph himself puts his shot into the Warjack on the right hand side of his zone, because it seems the best target for him. It does a bit of damage. Siege, now the halberdier is gone and he's not engaged, he shoots and he does ground pounder, so he can catch 4 models, I think he manages, and boosts a bunch of to-hit rolls because they have got blur on them, so they're a bit harder to hit. He kills a few, and in the end I think we leave 3 halberdiers left alive. One of them's the standard bearer, so there's only 2 that can make attacks that are left alive, which is pretty good. I'm happy with that. And Lug the bear runs up into the zone to contest it, but out of range of the heavy Warjack from charging him, which is kind of important for me. So Retribution turn 3. It's also worth noting that the dismounted Dragoon scored his flag on my turn, which was the second player's second turn, so he's currently up 1 control point at the start of his turn. So in turn 3 he moves up his battle engine on the right. It shoots at I can't remember if it shot at the bear or if it shot at the Talon, but suffice it to say that between that and the Warjack that can do slams, the bear gets knocked down and the Talon gets slammed into the bear's controller, Brun, but he doesn't take any damage from the collateral damage, so he's fine. But he does get pushed back a little bit from minimum deviation thing. The Warjack would have landed on his base, so he had to move out of the way. So all the shooting starts opening up. So we lose Bull on the right hand side, he goes down. We lose Holt. The force generator battle engine on the left hand side slams Hearn and Joan, so the Ogryn goes into the dwarf, they both die. So that's not great. The dismounted Dragoon runs up to engage Adria at the end of my zone and is also threatening a few more of my pieces like Rorsch for next turn. And one of the mechanics replaces him on the flag, so he will still be scoring that. He doesn't manage to kill Linus and Adria. His Linus does try and take a shot, as well does his Warjack, but he doesn't manage to kill those two, so I contest that zone on that side. And with all his shots from the Electromancers and other things, he doesn't manage to kill off the bear either, so the bear is still in his zone. It's knocked down, but it's still alive. And yeah, so he goes up to 2 points to nothing this turn. So it's Signar turn 3, and I really need to start pulling this back. I have Triumph's maintenance shot go into the Warjack on the right. It does a bit more damage to it, and I figure it's time for the feat. So the bear forces to stand up, so it will actually be able to do anything. It is within range to charge the Warjack on the right. So what I have happen is I have Siege walk up, and with the Squire he can put the force generator and the Warjack both in his control area. He feats, and then he does a ground pounder to hit a mechanic that's hiding behind the Warjack, and just the Warjack. I don't hit the battle engine, and this is deliberately a choice that I make. I boost damage on to hit and damage on the Warjack just because I really want to be sure, and he does a decent chunk to it. I then have to clear 2 halberdiers that are in the way for the bear to get in. So Tarian goes up, she manages to kill both of those halberdiers. I then have Iana go, and she walks up and puts harm onto the Arcantric Force Generator. And then I have the bear charge the Warjack. I miss the to hit roll on it, so I lose out on my charge damage roll. But he puts his second attack into the AFG. It hits, he boosts the damage, and with the feat halving its armor, he does a healthy chunk to it, and then he buys 2 more attacks. No, wait, he doesn't, because he had to force to stand up. He buys 1 more attack into the AFG, and I think he kills it with his second attack because of how much he did with the feat damage shot, and harm being on it from Iana. So I have Rorsch walk up, and he takes a shot and kills Adria. And on the left hand side I have Linus and Adria run to go contest the flag. Adria takes a free strike and dies, but Linus does manage to contest his flag. So this turn I will score 2 points because I am controlling the right hand zone and I'm controlling the right hand flag, and he will not score, so the score goes 2-2. So Retribution turn 4. So he's got a big angry bear in his face and he's going to try and get rid of it. The Electromancers both shoot at Triumph, and the first one does the lightning generator, which manages to kill Iana and does some damage to Rorsch. The second one does the D3 damage rolls on Rorsch and kills him. He sends the Warjack on the left to kill Linus after his Linus charges my Linus and fails to kill my Linus, so he has to use his Warjack to kill my Linus. The dismounted Dragoon charges my objective, does a decent chunk to it but doesn't kill it. His caster then decides to shoot and kill Brun, who is on no camp, but he does have his upkeep spell out. But she luckily has a tool for that, so he shoots the shot that gets rid of upkeep spells. And it's dice -5. She boosts the damage, rolls it, does a couple of points. She does another shot, hits, boosts the damage, and does a couple more points. And then she does it for a third time and leaves him on one box. On statistical averages, she should have killed him nearly double, but unfortunately for her, she leaves Brun alive with the bear right in his caster's face. So he will score 2 points for the left-hand side, putting him up to 4, and I will score 1 point for my flag because his halberdier solo charged the bear and did a bit of damage to it. So the score will be 4-3 at this point. So unfortunately I forgot to take a picture of the last turn, but it wasn't really much of a turn. All that happened was the bear walked up to his caster, put his animus on for 1 and then boosted to hit. He hits, knocking her down, and then he just buys attacks until she dies, which I think was 2 or 3 attacks. So Kaelyssa goes down and I win, which I really wasn't expecting. It's a hell of a janky fun list, but against a ranged heavy army like this it can get taken apart real quick. But you know, my opponent had bad dice on that last attempt to kill the dwarf, and it cost him. Speaking about it afterwards, he said he should have just ran his caster behind the wood near the AFG and, you know, slowly ground it out on scenario, because he was already up 1 point at this point, and he would have been able to kill my objective and score 2 points on his turn every turn, probably even score on mine, because I don't really have much left that I can send over there to contest. So yeah, mistakes were made, I guess. So I've got the other games from the tournament that will be coming out soon. I decided to do them in separate parts because as a new father I don't really have the time to record in a quiet house for long periods of time, so I'll try and get the other bat reps out as soon as I can. Alright guys, catch you later, bye.